So today we're going to be reacting to some eerie recordings that people left before they went missing. The first was about this mother named Susan Powell, and it was really strange. Right before she went missing, she recorded this video where she's documenting all of the assets in her home. She lived in Utah, and she says in the video, in her words, she says that just in case something happens to her, that her assets are documented. This was back on July 29th, 2008.
This is me. July 29th, 2008. It is 12:33 Mountain Time. Covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us, that our assets are documented. Hope everything works out and we're all happy and live happily ever after as much as that's possible.
And this is right before she went missing. That's so weird. That's so creepy. And the couple's marriage had been really struggling in the years leading up to this video. And she even goes on to like acknowledge that. And the reason why she made this video is because her attorney was like, you should make a video documenting all of your assets in case your husband decides to sell the expensive stuff.
This is all stuff bought in a year or less through Home Depot on my credit. Josh bought a lot of stuff and then he had to bankrupt it. And then he bought a little bit more on my credit. There's a nice lamp.
It sounds like he is using this woman. I don't have much context, but it sounds like he's getting her to pay for a lot of things. If my boyfriend made me buy him things from Home Depot, I would be appalled. I'm not buying like a lawnmower or something like that. And I don't care if you guys hate on me for saying that. I am not going to purchase a lawnmower.
These are things to roll wood with.
It's so funny because I don't even know what like half of these things are or whatever they do.
And I had necklaces too. I don't know where those are. I just got in a rage, as you can see, and broke
They were
this.
dropped in a rage. Did they fight?
There's duds and pearls.
Were they violent?
And opals in there.
Oh, girl!
Broke this and threw all my DVDs and made a mess. Because he was angry at me about a year or two back.
Oh my god! All because he was angry at her! And he broke her stuff. Oh my gosh. Oh, I feel so bad for her. She must feel like she must feel so trapped. And she had been trying to leave her husband. And you know, they always say like, it's really hard to leave. And people are not very sympathetic about that. I feel like when people are talking about like DV types of cases, you know, if you could just get up and leave, I'm sure you would, but it's a lot more complicated, especially when you have a family. Maybe well, I guess she's not financially dependent on him because she's paying for everything. But a year after this recording was released, she was still with him. One day, her husband, in the middle of the night, he took the boys and he said that they were going on a camping trip. But there was literally a blizzard going on when he said this. He said that Susan had stayed home from the camping trip in the blizzard because she was tired. Now, if you ask me, I'd rather die than camp in a blizzard. But the next day, her two boys were not dropped off at daycare, so her family and friends reported her missing. And then when her husband got back from his little camping trip with the boys, he said that she had been sleeping all day and she was so peaceful, and that he could not even begin to tell you what happened to her. The police then decided to search the house, and there weren't any signs that he had done anything to her, or like that anything had happened at all to her. But then things got a little strange. They noticed that inside the safe deposit box that she kept at her job, not at her home, there was a handwritten will, and then there was a testament that said that he had taken out a $1 million life insurance policy on her a couple weeks before all of this. The notes are really eerie. I'm gonna like keep them on the screen for you guys. She had also written, if I die, it may not be an accident, even if it looks like one. Take care of my boys. And then she goes on to say that she wants her parents to be very, underlined, involved and in charge of their lives. And if they aren't, my sister, she can be responsible, hopefully. I love my boys. I live for them. Oh, it's so sad. Like, imagine how you must feel knowing something may happen to you. And only 10 days after she disappeared, her little hubby Josh filed paperwork to take money out of her retirement account. And that's when everyone was like, okay, maybe he's kind of involved in this whole disappearance thing. And all for money. Like, are you that desperate? He looks like a sad man, I gotta say. Her friends and family also were like, when they were looking for her, he did not seem like distraught or like he was dying for them to find her. Can you imagine? Like, If my boyfriend went missing, I would not know how to breathe. Like, oh my gosh. Oh, it would just be so upsetting. And this man didn't even shed a tear. Her husband didn't even shed a tear. And the sad, sucky thing about all of this is even though there was so much evidence against him, they never actually charged him for her disappearance. And like, the sons were so young, the cops tried talking to them, but like, they didn't really get anything. Cause like, look at them, they're just babies. Like, and now they don't have their mommy. My heart. They did mention, and I don't know if they were like told to say this or if it was true maybe, they said that Josh had taken Susan with them on the camping trip the night of her disappearance. But then they also went on to say that they like arrived to the campsite in an airplane. So like, it kind of makes their statements impossible to really take seriously. Josh then took the kids and moved to his home state, which was Washington. But then the police were like, I don't think you're fit to take care of these boys, at least while the investigation was still happening. And that's when Josh lost custody of the boys. And then it gets crazier. 2 years later, a social worker brought the kids to visit Josh. And as they arrived, Josh locked the social worker out of the house and then locked him and the boys in the house and set the house on fire, killing everybody inside. So I think we can all conclude that the man is guilty. And then after all of that happened, they were like, maybe Josh's brother and Josh's father know more than they're acting like they know. And then Josh's brother killed himself, like before they could really get any more info from him. But Susan did get justice. Her father sued for $100 million, almost, something like around $100 million for negligence, because they did not care or try with her case. And the two children were supposed to be in the state's custody. And I mean, I guess they were. Like, they were with that social worker, but like, how do you let yourself get locked out of the house? Regardless, they failed to protect those two children. Oh, and they're so stinking cute. They are adorable. It breaks my heart. And he actually, I really like the dad. The dad gave like a big chunk of the money that he got to a charity to support like survivors of DV. Okay, here's the next story. So in late 2014, a YouTuber named Kenny Veach, using the username SnakeBitMcGee, left a comment on a video titled Area 51 Technician's Son Discloses Secret Alternative Energy. And in the comment, I'll put it here, he shares this like creepy story about discovering a cave near Nellis Air Force Base during one of his hikes. And the cave was shaped like a perfect M, and it made his body vibrate as he approached it, and it left him too scared to enter it. And the comment ended up gaining a lot of attention. And some people were calling him a liar. Other people were encouraging him to revisit the cave and document it. And so Kenny accepted the challenge. And on October 18th, 2014, he uploaded a video of his hike in the Nevada desert to search for the cave again. But the weird thing is he was unable to find it. And this video starts with him on top of the mine shaft. Like that thing you're seeing, that's like the top of the mine shaft.
Well, here I am on my hike up here in the mountains north of Las Vegas. This is the
It's so creepy watching this, knowing what happens to him later.
This is a canyon I just walked up in. Now you can't tell, but my truck is way out there by the mountains at the very, very end of this valley.
And so the video is him continuing to like walk through the desert and showing us what he's seeing. And it's like him kind of hunting, looking for the cave again.
There's some interesting stuff coming up here. Look, see those? Look at that. Kind of right there. That's kind of cool.
There are some like really cool rock formations, I will say.
Alright, I'm going to turn it off and then I'll turn it back on here. Look at that, that's pretty cool right there. Huh. Alright, off with the camera.
And he posts this video, it ends without any major discoveries. But after criticism and pressure from the viewers, Kenny announces his plan for his third attempt to find the cave. On November 10th, 2014, he told his family he was gonna head out for the night and do like an overnight hike. But For some crazy reason, that was the last time anybody saw him. And so obviously everyone was really freaked out. They sent out search teams and like rescue teams, and 12 days go by and they find Kenny's phone near an abandoned mine shaft that he had mentioned in his earlier video, actually, like the older video. And they looked and they looked and they could never find his body. So some people think maybe he fell into the mine shaft, or maybe he died from like exposure in the harsh desert. But then some people think that he stumbled upon some like government secret, or he was silenced after he witnessed something dangerous. But then his girlfriend came forward. Her name is Sharon Pilgrim, and she suggested something else. She was like, Kenny struggled with depression for years, and I think he might have taken his own life, which is really sad and really unfortunate. And since all of that happened, it's created a lot of like interest in that area. And a lot of YouTubers have gone back and like explored the area and looked for caves that resembled the M that Kenny had described. And one of these caves actually had a danger restricted area sign nearby. And that's like, maybe that was the cave that Kenny decided to go in. But the mystery remains unsolved and no one's ever seen Kenny. So Henry McCabe was a 32-year-old Liberian immigrant, and he was a Department of Revenue auditor. And he went missing on December 7th/8. It was like early in the morning, really late at night, 2015, in Minnesota after like a night out. He went to a barbecue at his friend Emmanuel's house, and then they later went to a nightclub with two people that they like kind of knew, but like, you know, like acquaintances. They left the nightclub around 2 a.m. And you know what they say, nothing good happens after 2 a.m. Henry was reportedly dropped off at a gas station by one of his acquaintances. William is his name. The surveillance footage of the gas station did not show him getting dropped off there. And then around 2:20 a.m., Henry made a distressing phone call to his wife, and she described this behavior as like extremely unusual and incoherent. Because when you at first when you hear this, you're like, oh, he's just being silly and being drunk. Because my boyfriend and I will like growl and scream at each other in like a fun, silly way when we're drunk. But this is, she said he doesn't do that. I guess he's normal. In the last 2 minutes of the call were captured on a friend's voicemail, and this voicemail is one of the most like eerie and unexplainable pieces of evidence in this whole case. Is he just like drunk? That was so concerning. Now, after the call, Henry's phone records show multiple attempts to contact a now disconnected Texas number. That's so sketchy. Like, I'm starting to think these acquaintances have like connections, or like are bad people, or like are involved in like trafficking or something. I don't know. His wife's behavior also raised questions. When he never came home, she only made a phone call to one friend. She made one phone call to one friend. But in her defense, I feel like I would kind of just trust, like if I was in her shoes, I would kind of just trust that my boyfriend's like having a sleepover at his friend's house or something. I don't know. I don't know. I would kind of just figure he'd be with his friends and maybe they crashed somewhere. But later she started claiming, when he was like missing and this was like a whole thing, she was like, no, I know he's alive. I know for a fact he's alive. And people thought that was very questionable. And then there were all of these conflicting testimonies. William kept changing his story about where he dropped Harry off. And then Emmanuel, his friend that he was going out with, and then, you know, William's one of the like acquaintances. Emmanuel and a group of men reportedly acted very suspicious during the search for Harry. But they were never able to prove there was like a connection between that and like them in his disappearance. But then an anonymous letter was sent to the police a month after his disappearance, and this letter claimed that Harry's body was buried near the water and urged a witness to come forward. And sure enough, his body was found in Rush Lake on November 2nd, 2015, nearly 2 months later. And they checked out his body and there were no signs of like foul play or external injuries. And this added to the mystery. Like, what happened to him? How did he pass? Like, he didn't just like have a heart attack or like alcohol poisoning or something. Like, someone had to be there. Someone had to be involved. Like, if that was the case, if he got dropped somewhere and then just like dropped dead, someone would have reported it. But I don't know. Some people think this is foul play. I think it's foul play. I think those acquaintances are sketchy. Some people think it's an accidental drowning. Some people think that something supernatural happened. Maybe like aliens, I guess. I really think it's unexplainable. I don't even know. I think we're missing a piece of the puzzle. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you are unable to sleep tonight. And I'm a growing channel, so if you like me, hit the subscribe, hit the like. It really helps when you interact, and comment which one creeped you out the most. Stay spooky!